Am I the a-hole for getting a teacher fired because of my son's head tattoo that I gave him? So my son, just turned 16, has had alopecia since he was young. For those of who don't know, his hair falls out. It can progress with severe stress, and since elementary school, he has been bullied mercilessly for it. The only real treatments were these injections into his scalp, which I'm sure you can imagine are super painful. It was getting to the point where he'd become anxious closer to the doctor's visit. So I started looking at different options. I came across micropigmentation, which is not a bunch of little pigs that dance across your body.
But I want tiny pigs.
He agreed that this seemed like the best option. So for his birthday, I managed to get an appointment set up under his doctor's recommendation, which made it totally legal. We drove 2 hours out of our way and spent the weekend in a larger city to get this done, since our town is fairly small. I don't know how to describe it. Even if it's buzz, this stuff looks so real, and his confidence is just through the roof. He's no longer hiding under hats. He feels confident with his new quote unquote hair, and it's really great to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
I love this.
The kid is just like feeling himself. Who has like a buzz cut? Will Smith's wife. Got that G.I. Jane look. I'm honestly so glad that we made the decision because now we can just move on from this. It's a huge weight lifted off of his shoulders every day. His school, however, thinks otherwise. He goes to a pretty strict Catholic school. Apparently, I should have asked first, but I had flipped through the guidebook and saw nothing about tattoos in their policy. However, I got an angry email on Monday evening from a substitute teacher.
Oh my God.
She overheard my son explaining his procedure and felt compelled to tell me how this mutilation is illegal and unacceptable.
Last I heard, there was this thing called None of Your Business. Also, I love how it's the substitute teacher.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make my mark as
I
the
am
substitute
putting my
teacher.
foot down. They wouldn't let me have longer hair in Catholic school. You would be labeled a devil worshiper, even though you look exactly like the guy that we're all about.
Yeah, right?
I tried to explain, but she refused and continued to tear into me and him over this, going so far to call me an irresponsible father for allowing my son to get a head tattoo. She called him a bad example and said that in no way is this acceptable under school rules. Well, here's where I may be the a-hole. That admittedly pissed me off a lot. So I contacted not just the principal, but also a friend of mine who's on the board and the head of the school, and forwarded them the conversation with highlights, along with my very own strongly worded letter and other emails documenting the times that my son experienced bullying at the school, with minimum, if any, repercussion to those involved. I'll admit I was angry, but I threatened to sue them for discrimination.
There we go.
Which honestly, I think it's taking it as far as should be taken.
It's basically just like hair.
He's making his head look like everyone else's head.
Right?
Needless to say, this prompted a lot. Apparently, the board is panicked about this and the sub was fired. Word has gotten around due to the gravity of it all, and a few parents have called me the a-hole, saying that I took the threats too far, as this substitute was not a normal part of the school and I shouldn't have taken such an aggressive approach. Am I the a-hole for getting this woman fired and also for causing such a stir? So John, what do you think? Is OP the a-hole or not? I also want to know what you guys think, so put your answers in the comments right below. Also, if anyone went to a strict Catholic school, what was your hair policy? I need to know, because mine was you can't have hair covering your ears.
Interesting. Okay, well, so this got a rile in me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, if that was my kid, ooh.
Oh, dude, I would be pissed.
What is this big deal? Like, it looks like he just has hair.
Exactly.
It looks like he just has hair.
Why don't
on
you
his
want
head.
the kid to be happy?
Like, so, and the fact that after OP tried to explain, the
Wouldn't listen.
sub still shut it down. Like, no. You are a bad parent. Oh goodness.
Saying that you are a bad parent, I would have been pissed. The autistic kid confessed his love for me. Now the principal is pressuring me to go out with him. I want to say no. So am I the a-hole? I know the title is going to make me seem like a bad person, but please hear me out. So I, female 15, am in high school. There's a boy near my year. Let's call him Kyle. Kyle, male 15, has severe autism. He can't be in public spaces for a long time without a meltdown, can't make eye contact, struggles with social cues, etc. Also, to preface, I am not ableist. I will never, ever dislike someone just because they're autistic. But I hate him anyway. So anyway, me and Kyle are in the same math class. I didn't choose math. In the UK, in high school, you have to do maths and English the whole time. And we sit next to each other with his assistant teacher near to him in case he needs help. Kyle had, for whatever reason, taken a liking to me. Oh, you're a snap. You're a catch. Come on. He isn't a bad person, and I'm sure he would be a great boyfriend. However, I'm a lesbian.
Oh boy. The plot thickens.
The plot thickens. I also have a girlfriend. The plot just got thicker.
Wow.
Of nearly 2 years. So I am not attracted to men in any way. And obviously Kyle is a guy. So about how I got detention. Just after class, Kyle decided it would be a good time to confess to me, as in basically ask me to be his girlfriend. His assistant teacher was right next to me, so I had to watch my words. I politely declined, saying I wasn't interested in relationships right now. The reason I didn't just say I'm a lesbian or I have a girlfriend is because, one, people in my school are pretty homophobic, so I prefer to keep it a secret to avoid bullying. That sucks.
Yeah.
And two, my family's kind of homophobic too, so I don't want them to find out by some chance. They don't know me and my girlfriend are dating. Double suck. After I politely declined, Kyle was very mad. He almost got violent. I understand his frustration. However, I'm obviously not going to date him. His assistant teacher pulled me aside and asked if I'd just go along with it for his sake, to which I told her I'm not comfortable with it, which is completely reasonable. To cut a long story short, she ended up telling my head of year and the pastoral leader, and they gave me detention for, get this, bullying. Since when is not going out with someone bullying?
Hey, Sam.
Yeah.
Will you marry me?
Yes. OP says, how did I bully this kid? I was perfectly fine with him until this. He won't talk to me anymore, which is odd. Was I supposed to just accept his date invite just because he's autistic? Which literally, if you had to do that, like half of Reddit would have girlfriends. I'm sorry, but that seems completely unfair to me. I hope you don't all think I'm some horrible ableist person for this. I just had to get it out. I still strongly believe I didn't deserve to be punished for not wanting to date him, and I'm really mad at the way my school handled it. There are a couple edits, but John, is OP the a-hole for not dating the autistic kid?
You don't have to date anybody because someone says you should do it. Like, it's just so weird that, like, one person in the school, like a teacher's assistant, it's already weird.
But also, one simple hack to get a girlfriend, be autistic and go to this school.
I've been doing it wrong all my life, apparently.
So there is some edits. It's now the next day, and I have told my parents about this. I actually told them as soon as I got detention, couldn't text them because no phones allowed in school. They are just as mad at this situation as I am, and they are going to meet with a member of the school team to discuss it tomorrow, and I'm going with them. I'll post another update tomorrow. If anything happens, wish me luck. And edit 2. Well, the meeting went well. My parents were livid and they demanded that they take the detention off my record. So they did. And now the head teacher had a talk with the TA and gave her a verbal warning. I don't think she'll get fired, but I hope she does. I think that's the end of it. And the school is never going to do that again, or we'll take it further. Thank you all for the support.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
I'm glad it ended up well.
Yeah.
You know?
But something that I'm not glad is, like, how are these autistic kids going to get girlfriends if the principal isn't forcing everyone they date?
Bro, they need the assist.
But what would you do, guys?
What would you do? My racist mother-in-law hates her brown grandkids. Am I the a-hole for banishing her from seeing them?
Seems reasonable, honestly.
When I was 27, I got pregnant from a one-night stand. The father, Robert, fake name, told me that he wanted to be part of our girls' lives as co-parents.
Better than most.
Better than most. Before this month, I had met Robert's mother, the grandmother mentioned in the title, once. When I was in the hospital recovering from giving birth, Robert brought her to meet his granddaughters. She told him in front of me to make sure to get a paternity test because she didn't want to be tricked by a gold-digging slur.
Wow.
Because Robert lived in another state and was a workaholic, he only had the girls for alternating major holidays and 1 month every summer.
The fact that it's twins on the first one-night stand, insane.
Give me your wiener. He would bring the girls to see their grandmother during this time. Grandmother was his only family, so I never said anything about it. However, when the girls were about 5, he and his grandmother had a falling out. I later found out it was because she kept making racist comments towards the girls. Disgusting.
Gross.
One example he gave me is that she kept telling the girls to stop showing their monkey side. This is making my blood boil. Whenever they misbehaved.
That's disgusting.
Over time, his relationship with his grandmother improved, but the girls never met her in person again. When my family found out about the falling out, they invited Robert to spend the holidays with us. He would rent a hotel room nearby or stay in my guest house and come to my family events. A year and a half ago, Robert was diagnosed with a terminal illness.
Oh no.
Even with aggressive treatment, he would only live for a couple years. He regretted not spending more time with the girls, so Robert decided to quit his job and move nearby. He asked me to change the custody to 50-50 custody so he could spend more time with our girls. I reminded him that the guest bedroom has always been open to him. He could move in with us and spend the remaining time with our daughters.
I mean, it's beautiful that they could work that out.
From a one-night stand to being able to do this, I feel like is a pretty incredible testament to both of them.
It's huge.
I had only one condition. While he can go out to see the grandmother and he can bring the girls along, she cannot come to my house. Interesting.
If I was the mother, I would be like, fuck your grandma.
Yeah.
My girls aren't seeing that racist piece of shit.
Robert agreed and he moved in. His mother never came to my house, though he did go see her a few times without our girls. Robert passed away last month. It's been rough and we dearly miss him. Last week, grandmother showed up on my doorstep. Wow, the girls weren't home. She told me that the twins were the only thing she has left of Robert. She asked if she could regularly see the girls. I laughed and told her no. Her only connection to them was through Robert and Robert only. I have not and will not help her see my girls. She protested and said that I was cruel to deny my girls their grandmother. I reminded her that it was Robert who originally didn't let her see the girls.
Yeah.
Even though he has passed away, I was not going to change that. Grandmother left crying after I said that. I believe I'm in the right, but some of my family members think I was too harsh. She's grieving and I should let her see the girls at least once. Am I the a-hole? And there's a quick edit to those telling me to lawyer up. I am a family attorney. Wow.
OP's got all the skills.
Not only do I know the law, I have the home court advantage. Wow. Well, the mother-in-laws can always be tricky.
Yeah.
I want to know from everyone watching if you have had a very hard experience with your mother-in-law and how did you overcome it, or what did you do?
Like, was there have you ever had any bigotry coming from
from the mother-in-law? I think it would be really good for, some great discussions have been happening. It would be really great for you to share your experiences, and we're going to start reading some on the show. So I'd be very curious to see that. But I think the big question here is what OP asked. Is OP the a-hole for not letting the grandmother see the children?
Yeah. I don't think OP's the a-hole because it's more like she's sticking to the wishes of the late father of these children.
Yes.
If it was me, I might let the grandmother see them like on holidays or something. And if she says some racist shit, I'd be like cutting you out.
Yeah.
You don't want to expose your kids to that kind of bigotry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the husband didn't want his girls to be exposed to the grandmother. So it's like they're just maintaining that. The status quo there.
Exactly. And like, you do not know what plants the grandma is like planting in their heads. And you don't want them to grow up with self-hate or any other kind of like ideas like that. So I completely understand from both perspectives why OP has made the decision that she did.
Yeah, I agree. So in conclusion, I don't think OP's the a-hole.
Same.
Kevin is the dumbest student I have ever taught, and here's a few reasons why. This is the tale of Kevin the Fool. It's not uncommon as a teacher to have students who are a bit behind the curve in certain aspects, but 99.99999% of the time, they are keen on something. They might not understand how to identify a noun or what theme is, but they know how to make a mean plate of nachos. You learn pretty quick not to judge fish by their tree climbing ability,
Smart. I like that analogy.
Everyone has their different areas of competency.
That's right.
I thought this was the rule when I was teaching until I met Kevin. Kevin isn't his real name, but it doesn't matter because he can't spell it anyway. Kevin was a student of mine my last year of teaching. He came to my classroom with very little to show for his academic past. He had moved a few times and thus was missing a lot of typical test scores that we use to try to ballpark their ability. I thought, that's fine. I'll do some one-on-one with Kevin to see what's up. One-on-one with Kevin was like conversing with someone who'd forgotten everything in a freak, if not impossible, amnesia accident. There was no evidence that he had learned anything past the second grade, and now he was in ninth grade.
Oh, God.
Flabbergasted, I figured we needed to get more serious with this. If he was going to be in my class, I needed to know why and how. I decided to meet with him, his guidance counselor, his parents, and another teacher to see what was really going on. This is when it all became so clear. It was by some incredible fluke that his family hadn't been wiped off the face of the earth years ago. Odds are his entire heritage was based on blind luck and some type of sick divine intervention that saves his family every time a threat presents itself. Kevin was the genetic pinnacle of this null achievement. Even my instructional lead, a woman who could find a redeeming trait in a Balrog, failed to see any reason this kid or his family should be alive today.
Yikes.
So here's a list of events that made it abundantly clear that God exists, and he's laughing uncontrollably. Kevin frequently forgot when and where class was. On more than one occasion, I had to retrieve him from other classrooms. Kevin ate an entire 24-pack of crayons, puked, and then did it again the next day.
No.
This was ninth grade. I have no idea where he got the crayons. Kevin's dad wrote tuition checks and mailed them to me, his English teacher. This was a public school. When I gave it back to Kevin, voided, to give to his dad with a brief note explaining that this is a public school, Kevin got in trouble for trying to spend it at a 7-Eleven after school. Kevin was removed from the culinary arts program after leaving a cutting board on the gas stove and starting a fire twice. Kevin threw his lunch at the school resource officer and tried to run away. He ran into a door and insisted it wasn't him. Kevin stole my phone during class. I called it, it rang, and he denied that it was ringing. Not that it wasn't his, not that he did it. No, he denied that the phone was ringing.
Keep them on their toes.
Yeah, exactly.
Never let them know your next move.
He tried it 3 times before the end of the year. Kevin called the basketball coach during gym. Basketball tryouts were that afternoon. Kevin tried out. It did not go well. Kevin's mom could never remember which school he went to. She missed several meetings because she drove to other schools, none of which he went to. Kevin tased himself in the neck before a football game. Kevin kept a bottle of orange Kool-Aid in his backpack for 4 months. He thought it would turn into alcohol. He drank it during homeroom and threw up. Kevin said the N-word a lot. Kevin was white. The high school was 84% black. Kevin got beat up a lot. You think he would learn?
Kevin.
Kevin stole another student's iPhone and tried to sell it back to them. Kevin didn't understand that his grade was dependent on tests, quizzes, homework, classwork, and participation. Kevin finished his first semester with a 3% average. He tried to bribe me with $11. Kevin spit on a girl and said, "You should get out of those wet clothes." The girl was the Spanish student teacher. Kevin didn't know that cats and dogs were different animals. Kevin tried to download corn onto a computer in the library at the circulation desk while he was logged on. Kevin asked a girl to prom. He was in the 9th grade, and freshmen don't go to prom, by asking for her phone number and then texting her his address. Kevin got gum in his hair constantly. Kevin regularly tried to cheat on assignments by knocking the pile over, grabbing one before I had picked them all up, and then writing his name on it wherever there was room. Kevin and his parents took a trip to Nassau, and they forgot all their luggage at home. I didn't believe him when he told me until I talked to his mom, who told me first thing when I saw her at the bi-weekly meeting. Kevin's grandfather apparently died in a chainsaw accident. I can only assume God was looking the other way that day.
Opie's a great writer.
Relevant comments. I have to ask, was he popular with the girls? It was like watching a greased up orangutan try to climb up a water slide. This is from OP. We were doing an assignment on personification, and I had people describe their pets using it. Kevin didn't have any pets, but he said his neighbor had a cat and he played with it sometime. He listed off 3 or 4 things, and it became really apparent that he was describing a dog. At first, I thought that maybe he had trouble figuring out the right way to say it, but after 2 or 3 sentences, it was abundantly clear that this was a really big dog. Someone else who lived on the same street put 2 and 2 together as well and said, "Kevin, that's not a cat, that's so-and-so's black lab." Kevin was absolutely floored that A, someone else lived on his street, and B, there was a difference between a black lab and house cat. Like, I am only guessing, but I think to him, dog dog and cat were interchangeable terms like hat and cap. OP also says, despite numerous tests and assessments and meetings and just overall study, no one could ever say he had any kind of learning disability. No IEP, no 504, no special file, no caseworker or advocate. Just Kevin, his mom, his dad, and zero brain matter. I'm pretty sure his mother was some kind of physical therapist. His dad, no idea. I only met them a few times, but he always wore a pretty nice suit, or at least was business casual. They both drove decently new cars, and his house was in a nice subdivision. I'm assuming that for what they lacked in common sense, they made up for in specialized knowledge of some sort. For all I know, his dad could be a brilliant plastic surgeon. And there is an update on Kevin, because this story was like years ago.
It's a legendary one.
Yeah, this is a legendary story. So there is an update, but also like I have a friend, this friend that is the ditziest human ever. If I call a friend, he'll have a story.
There we go. Ooh, I like that.
What's up, dude?
Do you have like 3 minutes? Basically, we're telling this story about this guy named Kevin, and it reminded me about our mutual friend. And I was wondering if you had a story that you could share.
Our ditziest friend?
No, ditziest. Ditziest.
Oh, a story about Sorry. So once called me. She has lost her keys and she's locked out of her car. And I was like, okay, what do you want me to do? She's like, can you come to Hollywood from West LA with the keys? And I was like, hell no. It's like a 40-minute one-way trip, so that'll take me 1.5 hours back and forth. I was like, well, can I just put them in an Uber? She's like, no, don't do that. I was like, why not? She's like, I just don't trust that. And I was like, well, the Uber's not gonna like go around every car in LA and try and steal every car.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it'll probably be safe. But she said no, decided to hire a locksmith and get a car open for $400. And I was like, why didn't you just Uber back and forth if you were so scared of like giving it? She's like, oh, I just didn't think of that. And I was like, okay. And then the keys were always in her bag.
Oh,
She just never
no.
checked her bag.
Okay, dude, I have to get back to recording, but I appreciate your stories.
Love you, buddy.
Love you, dude. Kevin is doing pretty well. We are actually coming up on about 10 years since I had Kevin as a student. He's since graduated on time, gotten married, and has a house.
Wow.
He works as a sous chef at a fairly high-end restaurant here in town. He's taken some CC classes, which leads me to believe that he may be looking at going out on his own career-wise. I think that largely he grew out of his immaturity, as most kids eventually do, and perhaps having a kid in his teens sobered him up. Dude, that's the thing. Like sometimes with like the ditziness, it's like just around common sense things. Like like the friend that I was describing that's super ditzy is like super smart creator, but normal stuff, like she just doesn't get.
I low-key suck at a lot of normal stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I have my own moments, kind of like Kevin, a little.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as bad.
Kevin moments. Say bye to your $420,699 trust fund unless you get a prenup with your gold-digging fiance. Some background. I have 4 kids. My eldest, John, 27 male, was with my first wife who died when he was 5. I eventually remarried and got 2 stepdaughters, Lisa, 25 female, and Anne, 18 female. Then my second wife and I had Mike, 13 male. My wife and I made sure to give them comfortable lives. When John and Lisa graduated from university, we gifted them condo units. Pretty sick gift.
That's right. I thought you said condoms for a second.
Condoms. They're like, hey, don't be knocking up anyone anytime soon.
Come on.
We will also do the same when Anne and Mike graduate. Also, all of them have trust funds that will be released when they turn 30.
Very smart.
I'm quite proud of my kids. John and Lisa graduated from top universities. John has a high-paying job as an engineer, while Lisa pursued a master's degree in business while she worked in marketing. Eventually, she started her own marketing consulting firm while being a part owner of a spa. Dang!
These kids are going crazy.
I understand why you're proud of them. John recently got engaged to his girlfriend of 2 years, and they wanted to get married by the end of the year. She seems nice, however, she doesn't earn as much as him. My son spends a lot of money on her on dates and expensive gifts.
Oh, she doesn't earn as much money as him.
She's not as high class.
Oh, God.
I understand that it's his money and he can spend it however he wants, but she also moved in with him in the condo that I gave him, and as far as I know, she doesn't pay her share of utilities and association fees. And now John is asking to get part of his trust fund so he could use it for the wedding, since his fiance doesn't have much money to contribute for their wedding. Now, Here's where I may be an asshole.
Here we go.
I told him I'd release part of his trust fund early if he draws a prenup with her. He got angry and told me I was being unfair because I released half of Lisa's trust fund last year to help put up her business. But I guess with the business, it's an investment that could make more money. Whereas with this is an investment that could only take your money away. He told me that I was playing favorites. I told him that Lisa did something worthwhile with her trust fund. And while a wedding is worthwhile, I told him it doesn't seem safe to use a fund for a wedding to a girl who doesn't bring much to the table.
Bro, why is she hating on this woman so hard? So hard for no reason.
I told him I just wanted him to have some security by drawing a prenup. He got angrier and said I was implying that his fiance is a gold digger. My wife and the rest of the family refused to take sides. So am I the a-hole? And there is a update. But John, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm saying the a-hole because like if the fiance had a history of like, you know, scamming the boyfriends or something like, oh, but this time's different. Like,
let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
At what point is it taking advantage?
I am very pro splitting expenses.
Right.
It seems like John is earning a lot of money. And if I'm putting myself in his shoes, in John's shoes, I love being in those shoes. I could see myself being like, hey, I have the money. Like,
who cares?
Don't worry about it. Like,
and at the end of the day, it's like his relationship.
It's OP's life and OP's
choice
fault. And maybe a mistake to make.
If that happens, you know,
then it's
his mistake to make.
It's on John.
So let's get into the update.
Let's do it.
The next day after I posted, I had a long conversation with my son. First, I apologized to him for making that comment about his fiance. I realized it was demeaning and uncalled for. Second, I asked about their living arrangement. He did admit to paying for everything, including bills and food. She does the cooking sometimes, but he even pays for someone to clean because neither of them would. I asked if she ever offered to pay, and he said no. I understand it's none of my business, but the fact that she never offered is raising some flags in my head. I gave him some things to think about and maybe discuss with her, like what would happen if he loses his job or for some reason, illness/accident, he has to stop working. I told him that I have nothing against their arrangement and him spoiling her, but he has to be wiser about his spending habits. Third, I explained the importance of a prenup and said that I had one with his mom and his stepmom. He still refuses to because according to him, it might offend her. Again, raising some red flags. So I will stick to my decision and release his trust fund when he's 30, as we initially agreed on. He wasn't happy with this.
Right.
Lastly, I asked what kind of wedding they plan to have, that they felt the need to use his trust fund. Apparently, she dreams of having a big wedding on the beach. She also wants to have a photo and video production to announce their engagement, which I find ridiculous. They want it this year, but can't afford it, as she is only paying for her wedding dress. And my son admitted that he doesn't have a lot of savings, probably from going on expensive dates and trips. I told him that it's not practical, but if they really want it, they should wait and save up for it. At that point, I was feeling better about my decision to not release his trust fund early. The way I see it, my son could go broke in a few years paying for everything and spoiling his fiance/wife. Their trust fund is the last thing all my kids will get from me. That being said, I may be an asshole, but not a total asshole to not support his wedding. My wife and I agreed to give them a certain amount that should cover a nice venue and still have some left over for other expenses. It will be our wedding gift to them, and if he's still not happy, then there's nothing I could do. If they go no contact or low contact, I'd feel at peace with my decision.
Wow.
I provided for him and tried to protect him. If she leaves him and he ends up losing everything, I'd hate for that to happen, but that's on him. I do hope their marriage works out. That's the end of the story.
Ooh.
We had a little bit more context.
We do.
I'm going to throw it to you and John. So is OP the a-hole for not releasing the trust fund until 30, even though P released it for another one of his kids, albeit it was for a business investment? John, I'll pass it off to you. What do you think?
You know what, Sam? I'm still going OP's the a-hole.
You would give the trust fund early.
Yes, because at the end of the day, it's his decision to make.
But what if he goes broke?
It is what it is. And I also found it very odd that he said, I'm okay knowing that he might go no or low. That to me was crazy.
Yeah.
I would do anything to stay in touch with my child and to be okay with something as stupid as this getting in the way of me continuing a relationship with my son. I would never allow that. Never. Like,
I had a rich ex-girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Right. and she would literally pay for everything.
Yeah.
Like we would go out to dinner, like $300 dinners. I had no money. I was in high school.
Right.
But she would pay for it. Right. But eventually it got to the point where it was like her mom got a little upset that I was like mooching a little bit.
Interesting.
You know, like I wasn't paying for any of it.
Right.
To be fair, I had no money to pay for it. Because I was literally in high school. Like in retrospect, I don't think it was a good move for me to mooch off my girlfriend.
Right. Right.
It doesn't sit right with me now.
Right. Right.
I mean, the other thing is like, it sounds like they want a really expensive wedding.
Yeah.
Like that's going to go through that trust fund really quick. If it's super expensive.
Yeah. I do think it's fair to say, hey, I'll be honest, like,
No.
I don't think I would not do this. I don't think this is smart. And that's probably what I would say. But like, I want you to live your life. And, you know, if you're going to, your wins and your mistakes, I want them to be your own.
Yeah. I feel like OP's treating his child as a child. And what you just said is treating them as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think you've convinced me.
Ooh.
I think I'm pro giving the kid his half of the money early.
Yeah. You could end up broke in both scenarios, but at least you don't have a bad relationship with your dad in
Exactly.
that one scenario.
Yeah, I think the greater risk is him going no contact.
My brother thinks I slept with his wife just because we hooked up. I mean, my nephew does look a lot like me, but then I found out the truth.
You know, it's just a one-time thing.
I don't even know how this all started, but that seems to be what he thinks now. Only because I, 30 male, was in a relationship with his wife, Maeve, 30 female, when we were freshmen until our junior year of high school. My brother, 32 male, and I weren't in each other's lives at the time because he was living with our mom a few hours away, and I was with my dad. So he never knew about me and Maeve.
Yikes.
They started dating years later. It was weird once we all knew, but I told my brother if he loves her, then just go for it. At the time, I was already with someone else. Also, I'd moved on from having any feelings for Maeve. Now they're married. My nephew is 7. Now suddenly he told the whole family he's staying at his friend's house because he has strong reason to believe my nephew isn't his kid. He only thinks I'm my nephew's father because he looks a lot like me. Then again, I'm an exact copy of my dad, while my brother definitely looks more like my mom. So I don't know why he isn't accusing him too. Accuse my dad. He won't tell me why he's questioning paternity out of nowhere. Maeve's only said they had a misunderstanding during an argument. Your brother's always been better in bed. Now this is what's in his head, but won't give us any more details. The last time we talked, he told me he wants a paternity test to prove it. The fact that he believes I do something like that alone angered me enough to call him an effing idiot for not understanding how genetics work. I put a lot of emphasis on how much of a dumbass I think he is for the thought alone, so that's why I'm here wondering. My dad told me my brother is clearly going through something. His mind probably isn't clear, so to insult his intelligence like that was going way too far. My brother obviously seems to think I'm an asshole too, hence why I'm asking if this is accurate at all. John, there is an update, but I gotta know, do you think OP is an a-hole for calling his brother a dumb motherfucker?
It's just such a big accusation.
Not sure if anyone still cares. I know a few wanted an update about this. We did, so thank you. The whole thing was a lot crazier than I originally thought. Even if the final judgment said I wasn't the asshole, I still apologize anyways for insulting him just so that my hands are completely clean of this.
Smart.
But I told my brother how hurtful it is that he doubt my word. Instead of trying to ask me, he outright accused me of having an affair with his wife and fathering a child with her. If he seriously thinks it was me, then I'd do the test. But he better get used to not having me around because we are done after this. Clearly, the test came back showing I'm not the father, only showing what percentage of DNA we share given that we're uncle and nephew. Not only that, a day after posting this, I'd reached out to Maeve again demanding to know what this whole thing started from. Pretty much, he suspected she was having an affair because one time he came to her work and she wasn't there. Later on that day, she acted like she did go, but he never told her he stopped by. In reality, she had to consult with a lawyer because she's getting a divorce. But he didn't know about the divorce at the time. My brother still thought she was maybe cheating and he went through her stuff, and Maeve admitted that my brother found her personal journal. She didn't want to tell my family the details about the fight because it was regarding what he read from her journal, and some of the stuff was about her still having feelings for me. Even though she said in her journal she never wrote it to sound like we were having an affair, she was only admitting to still being in love and feeling guilty about being with him only for my nephew's sake. I heard my brother's side too once he was more calm. He too admitted that it got to his head when really literally nothing in the journal said anything about us. While now I can understand his feelings about what was going on, I still can't forgive the way he acted. Again, he never asked to hear my side before jumping to accusations, which is what happens time and time again on this show. People accuse shit and no one backs anything up.
Nobody.
Like, freaking investigate. He did apologize for it. Maeve did too for unintentionally dragging me into this because she didn't want anyone to find out about her feelings. I needed a day to unplug just to process everything. As far as I know, my brother still hasn't come back to their house. Maeve is still moving forward with the divorce process. Whole thing is a mess. My mom keeps trying to push me to talk to my brother because he feels bad how he treated me, but I already set my condition for doing the paternity test. If he's so sure that I'd be the kind of brother to betray him that way, then we have no business having a relationship. For now, that's what I'm sticking to. She told me she wanted to divorce because it wasn't fair to have feelings for someone else and not feel anything for him. Let me know what you would do if you were the brother, especially like, would you cut contact if your sibling was like, I think you're lying, take the paternity test?
Yeah.
Or would you give him another chance because he's not thinking clearly? Let me know in the comments what you would do. But John, what do you think?
Everyone in these stories is always like, no contact, divorce. Like,
Yeah.
I would still want to try to talk and kind of figure out more.
Really complicated,
Yeah, and the brother was totally unjustified.
Yeah.
Also, OP totally didn't deserve it. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to jump to just like, you are out of my life.
Let us know what you think, though.
I bought the family's dream beach house, but I used my daughter's $85,000 inheritance to do it. She's mad for some reason. Am I the a-hole?
Baby girl, I'm giving you a present by taking your money.
I, 50 female, lost my husband 4 years ago. I also have a 16-year-old daughter. My late husband left me everything and told me to trust his lawyer. My husband had worked for 20 years as a doctor and did some minor investing, so I inherited over 7 figures.
Damn, OP's a millionaire.
A year later, I decided to list our home of 12 years, and I received an offer too good to refuse. With the inheritance as well as the influx of cash from selling the house, I decided to move my daughter and I to Malibu because we'd always dreamed of a home next to the beach, but my husband was exceptionally tight-fisted and called homes their money pits.
I mean, yeah. Malibu is one of the most expensive areas ever.
We found a beautiful home by the sea. I never personally handled anything regarding buying a home before, so I did not anticipate all the extra costs beyond the sticker price. My daughter was so excited, so I decided to go for it. My late husband's lawyer was furious at my decision, so I decided to stop taking his calls. I ended up signing with the money manager who said that we'd be passively earning 90% of what surgeons earned per year.
That sounds pretty good.
But the money manager ended up tanking a lot of our investments. Oh, OP.
Who would have thought?
I took the dwindling money out and made my own investments. And long story short, because of all of that, I now only have around $35,000 available to me now, not to mention our debts. With the amount available to me, I am looking at only being able to pay 1 month of a mortgage / upkeep. And then I'm basically out of luck until my business gets clients.
OP, how could you fumble the ball that bad?
However, the place where we do have a significant amount of money is the fund my husband started for our daughter. With the money there, I could prevent our credit cards from being shut down and not have to worry about the mortgage for many more months.
No, OP, no.
I ended up liquidating my daughter's college fund. I told her about it today, and she was furious and said she cannot believe all her dad's work is gone. She also said she won't be supporting me for retirement. Am I the a-hole for trying to fix my mistakes and trying to keep our house?
Yes, you're the a-hole. It's her money. It's her money.
When you come into money like that, it is on you to be responsible and really think about what you're going to do with this money. Like, probably the financial advisor was like, you need to stop spending like this because you're going to burn through all your money.
The lawyer was like, dude, what are you doing? And she's like, click. Am I the a-hole for getting a man fired for what he said to my toddler? I'm the 1/3 owner of a company with 2 friends from college, Mike and Eric. I run the technology side of things, so I'm not the face of the company. Nerd. So I rarely go into the office. I have a 4-year-old daughter whose father is Mike. We have never been in a relationship and chose to co-parent our daughter. So you have a company together, you banged, but you're not in a relationship.
Wow. That is quite an interesting dynamic.
Mike got into a car wreck and required surgery. Eric was out of town. My nanny is on holiday, so it's me taking care of my daughter and trying to run a company. There's a project that Mike's working on in the office, and I have to grab it and a portable server. My daughter is already upset because she knows her dad is hurt. Getting her loaded into the car to go into the office was messy. She refused to wear matching boots and is in an elf outfit.
I love that so much.
That's so badass. At this point, I'm like, whatever, let's go. The whole time in the car, though, she's crying and upset. I get her to calm down because I told her we would grab some things from work. I meet with our VP of operations, Adam, and everything is fine and dandy until my daughter realizes she left her dinosaurs in the car.
No.
She will not be appeased. We are in Adam's office trying to get everything together to take to my home office. My kiddo will not stop crying because Sarah, the dinosaur, is in the car alone.
Sarah, dinosaur, 1 million female.
She said Sarah might not be able to breathe. Adam and I are like, it's okay. Sarah is fine. I'm mortified and want to get my kid back in the car and home. Adam has to run to the IT department to grab a few more things for me. My daughter is in total toddler meltdown over Sarah, the dinosaur. A man walks by and tells me to shut my kid up. This is an office, not a daycare.
Oh.
You said to shut the hell up to the wrong 1/3 owner of this company.
Yeah.
I've had it. I told him this wouldn't be his job if it weren't for this child's father or me, and he could be the one to shut up and find a new job. Clap back. I feel like also that comment came from like a sexist place too. Like, I don't think he would say that to a dude. What do you think?
I agree.
Let us know if you think it's sexist by putting you're a raging sexist in the comments. Adam comes back and the man starts yelling at Adam about how he's trying to work and my kid and I won't shut up. He told Adam he needed to get me out of the office. I'm like, this is my office. And if you don't like it, you can leave.
For real.
Adam agrees and says, I'm the owner and there's nothing he can do. The man walks back to his desk. Adam tells me he will handle it, wishes me good luck with the project, and sends my daughter out. Adam fired the man for insubordination because the situation did not get better after I left, and he made some sexist remarks about women in business. I freaking called it.
Sam
sexist.
called it.
Sexist. I get it. It wasn't my best day, but I'm trying to run a company and take care of my daughter in a stressful time. The man was rude, and to be honest, no matter who I was, he shouldn't be telling a child to shut up. So, is OP the a-hole? Put your answers in the comments right now. I want to see those answers. Or if you don't want to do some long drawn out comment, just type in sexist if you think this dude's being sexist.
That's right.
But John, what do you think? Is OP the a-hole?
Yeah, this guy, totally sexist, totally the a-hole. Just like,
do you think he deserves to be fired?
Maybe it's worth a chance to give him a chance to see what happens from there, because it was just one remark.
It depends what he said also afterwards too.
Yeah,
like
we
if
don't
he said
know
more
exactly.
sexy after,
Oh,
I would
yeah.
be like, oh,
True. That's
maybe
true.
not. But yeah, let us know. Is OP the a-hole? Is this guy who's telling his kid to shut up the a-hole? Put your answers in the comments right now. My cousin blew up on me because I'm training her brat kids like dogs. Somebody had to tame those beasts. Am I the a-hole? My cousin Amy, 25 female, has 6 male twins and has a nasty habit of dumping them onto relatives to babysit for the entire day without any warning or regard for their time.
Come on.
I, 27 female, have a very strained relationship with her, but because my mom's side of the family demands that we all remain close-knit, I have no choice but to tolerate her. When she initially gave birth to them, she teased me that I'll have to take on babysitting duties from now on. I'm no good with kids, so I remarked to her that if I ever have them, I'll train them, not babysit. She brushed me off.
Train them?
The kids now are hella destructive and loud, pulling out stuffing inside furniture, holes inside walls, smashing anything glass and porcelain, screaming louder than a fire alarm. You name it. They sound like little Tasmanian devils.
Yeah.
When it was my first turn to deal with them, I immediately walked with them to the store and grabbed the biggest bag of M&Ms I could find and trained them so that every time they follow my orders and behave, they get one. If they misbehave, I get one. Wait, this is kind of genius.
This is wild.
This is genius.
I love this.
Soon enough, every time the kids were dumped on me, they went with my guidelines and behaved. Whenever I say sit, they sit at the table.
No.
When I say stay, they don't leave that spot. etc. 2 days ago, there was a party planned with the whole extended family. I know pandemic, didn't want to, but mom insisted. And I grabbed the M&Ms since the twins were there. Once they arrived, the twins were being so destructive. An entire tray of food was spilled. So destructive, in fact, that all the adults had had enough and yelled at Amy to control them. She vomited the same excuse of them just being kids and they'll grow out of it eventually. I don't want them to grow out eventually. I want them to behave right now.
Yep.
I shouted the twins' names, Rufus, Hunter. I don't know if that's their actual names, but
I like these names.
and shook my M&M bag. Here are the treats, Rufus, Hunter. They came running over and I popped 6 pieces into my mouth for their misbehavior. I told them to go clean up the mess or no candy all night. They do so.
Bro.
Halfway through the party, every time something similar came up or they weren't behaving, I was the one able to calm them down. When Amy saw what I was doing, she got angry and started yelling at me how her children aren't animals and that I shouldn't be giving them so much candy anyway. I told her that I'm their aunt, not their parent. Why am I the one disciplining them?
Ooh.
But honestly, the fact that OP's able to discipline them, like not using any force, not being mean, all she's doing is eating M&Ms.
Literally. And like, not even like just one at a time.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
That's nothing. It's barely any candy.
Yeah.
She screamed the same argument at me, and since she's their mother, to stop giving them candy. One of the twins overheard and went apeshit, dashed straight into the kitchen and started shattering anything they could get his hands on, shouting over and over that he wants candy. His twin joined him soon after. They sound fucking terrible. I repeated that she's their mother and just sat in the living room watching it all unfold.
There we go.
At the end, Amy blamed me for them turning out this way. The other relatives she dumped them on, a majority disagreed. But when I told a friend about the situation, he told me that the training I did can really fuck up kids mentally later in life. So, am I the a-hole? John, is OP the a-hole for training those little gremlins like dogs?
Okay, so I actually am so intrigued by this method. Like, this is
Seems like a great method.
and it's wild because I've never heard of it before. I think that as far as like something like hey, clean up your plate after you eat. Hey, did you do your homework tonight? Like different like normal human behaviors, I guess. It's like, yeah, that's a great like reward system.
Yeah. And like people will do like, hey, you can watch 15 minutes of TV if like.
Exactly. Like there is a version of that that exists. And especially for like really young kids, like toddlers, if it's like, hey, don't throw your bowl on the ground. And then if you eat a whole meal without throwing your bowl on the ground, then you get some M&Ms at the end or a dessert, whatever.
I definitely wouldn't I wouldn't train my kids like that. If you give your kids like, it's like, Hunter, you did good, M&M. But what I want to know is like, have you had your own mischievous children?
Ooh.
And how did you handle parenting them?
Yeah.
Or have you ever seen like someone with crazy kids that didn't know how to control them and like what did they do?
What's your M&M method?
I got a paternity test because I don't trust my wife anymore.
We got the results back and I fear a relationship is over. So I met my wife through a mutual friend. We were friends for a year or so before we both became single and decided we were compatible enough to date.
Very nice.
We were together 2 years before we got married. I do not know what got into me. My wife is loyal, faithful, but I had been reading statistics about how many men are raising children that aren't their own and had absolutely no idea around the time she found out she was pregnant. We both wanted children. We weren't actively preventing it. What is the statistic? 1 in 30 fathers is not related to the kid that they think they are related to. You probably know 30 fathers. One of them, and it could be you. It could be your dad.
Yeah, it could be your dad. Or
Yeah. Your dad might not be your dad.
Dun, dun, dun.
She told me she'd gladly give me my paternity test, but that she was moving back to her mother's until that time because she didn't know if she wanted to continue the marriage. She got an amniocentesis test about 20 weeks ago. I'm the father, and when she told me, I was so happy, but she wasn't. Of course she's not going to be happy that you question the paternity.
Idiot. God.
She told me that she felt like she fell out of love with me the minute I asked her and that she had no desire to reconcile. Our daughter was born July 10th. My wife has gone through a lawyer and has started through the motions of a divorce and issues of custody. She has since gotten her own apartment. She said she wants to keep this as amicable as possible for the sake of our daughter, but I just want to be a family. She doesn't want support or alimony because she makes more than enough to cover herself and our daughter's needs and live a comfortable life. It's taken since February to even get to her softening her stance and even think about counseling. She said she loves me, but she isn't sure she can get over this. Now, I'm trying to think of how to fix this, and I'm just a broken mess. I want to prepare a list to talk about on Monday at counseling, but I just can't think of anything but apologizing, and that hasn't made any difference in the past months. I don't think it would now. TLDR, didn't suspect wife of infidelity, but paranoia made me ask for a paternity test. Probably listen to a couple OKOP episodes. After months of separation, she's agreed to counseling. What can I do to fix this? And there is an update.
Oh.
But John, what can OP do to fix the fact that he didn't believe his wife and got a paternity test?
How do we fix his marriage? He still kind of has the vibe like when he said, like, she doesn't want to like engage, but I just want us to be a family. It's like, don't you get it? Like,
I mean,
it's
yeah.
that behavior.
Yeah. I mean, it was the fact that you didn't trust her.
Yeah. Oh, God, what would I do if I was OP? I mean,
Don't be an idiot in the first place.
yeah,
And don't believe the fucking internet
yeah.
and statistics. But I mean, you can't rush it. Your questioning of her loyalty and honesty has crippled the relationship in her eyes.
Yeah.
But there is an update.
Oh, boy.
I got to sit down with my wife during my visit with my daughter while she was napping. She says that this was the straw that broke the camel's back. And here is why she went nuclear, as a lot of people said. And as much as this hurt, I needed to hear it. I had trouble trusting her our whole relationship, despite the fact she had never cheated on me or any exes. She's caught me snooping through her phone, email, work, laptop before, and because she deals with privileged information, she says I open her up to liabilities with her clients.
Oh.
And no, I have never found anything incriminating. She has never hidden anything except work-related things because of confidentiality. Her bank accounts, credit card information, phone records were always open to me because she's caught me snooping before and she wanted to assuage my fears.
Oh, boy.
I had recently installed Tinder on my phone and she caught me on OkCupid 6 months ago. Her best friend sent me my profile, so she thinks that this is me projecting.
This guy.
She got upset about the hypocriticalness of it all. While she had been fully open to me, she says I never showed her the same courtesy and always bitched at her about my privacy. I had my phone passcoded. I would get upset if she did the same, which, dude, if you're being hypocritical in your relationship,
Bro.
you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You shouldn't expect someone to do something that you're not prepared to do.
Exactly.
I'd get angry with her if she went into my computer email for any reason, even if it was bill related. You sound like an asshole, bro. You're not making a good case for yourself.
Ay, ay, ay.
She said what really made her not want to work on it was some of the following. She felt no support from me at all before the test. She would come over every other day and talk to me, but I was cold to her, and she tried to work on it in the beginning. She said my aloofness made her not care. I refused to help her cover the copay for the amniocentesis. God, what a dick. She said this was pettiness that made her feel this way, but she was going to get an amniocentesis test anyway because she's paranoid about birth defects and her insurance didn't deem it a medical necessity. I went on a few dates after she moved out and she found out. She considered it cheating because she had been attempting to work on our marriage at that point and had even made counseling appointments.
Oh my God, bro.
That I refused to attend until she got the paternity test. Bro.
How do you fumble the bag so badly?
She was trying to meet you every which way.
Dude.
And you were like, no, I didn't remember this and didn't include it in my last post. She said she's willing to work on the marriage, but she said that it has to be open both ways and she isn't willing to move back with me right away. I have to give her the passcode to my phone and delete Tinder. I do not want to give her the passcode to my phone because I think I deserve my privacy. Bitch. Are you kidding me? If you expect her to give you her phone password, you should give her yours. Are you trying to work on this marriage or what, dude?
This is painful.
Her other condition is personal therapy as well as couples counseling, which he was much more reasonable on. He said, I don't want to do this either.
No.
Because as many of you pointed out, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be sure.
What does that have to do with your therapy? That has almost nothing to do with that.
And there is another update.
Oh God.
There is another update. But John, so far, what are your thoughts on this dude?
My guy. This is just one of those, every once in a while, we just get those dudes that just like, he's just going to fumble the bag forever. I'm sorry. Like,
You don't deserve to be in a relationship.
all right, hit me with it. I'm ready.
Okay. I realize now that I'm not exactly someone you want to sympathize with, and I'm sorry. I do love Marissa, and I want to be a better husband and father, but I will not get that chance. In therapy, our therapist had us lay everything out on the table, and I admitted that I was an unfair hypocrite. At least you can admit what
Good
you
step.
are. She admitted that she's happier without me, despite being a single mother for all intents and purposes. We attempted to talk it through, with her laying out her terms to re-enter the marriage. I still feel I did not cheat on her because she left me with no discussion of terms. She feels I cheated because we were still married and actively discussing her eventually rebuilding her trust in me and moving back home. We agreed to try another therapy session, but Tuesday morning she canceled it and filed for divorce. We had dinner that night. She told me she was so sorry, but she didn't think it would work because her trust at this point was irrecoverably broken. I told her it was okay. We sat down and talked about visitation until she leaves in January, when she will be moving to her home state with an opportunity that grants her more money and better benefits, including on-site daycare. She told me she harbors no hard feelings towards me, which I would harbor some big hard feelings against this douchebag, but she wishes it hadn't ended this way. I told her it didn't have to, but she disagreed and said it did. And it does. I told her I'd give her access to my phone and such. A little too late, buddy. A little too late.
Stop it.
But the fact that I did that to her left her with a sour taste in her mouth, and she doesn't want a relationship where it's considered normal to not share/rifle through the other person's things for no reason, as she put it. We agreed on child support, and we will get it in writing. I make a comparable amount to what she will be making, so we agreed to split baby's expenses. Baby will be on her insurance. I gave her a check for the amount for the amino. Anything else we can think of? I know there's no chance of getting my wife back, but how can I be a good dad to a baby long distance? We talked about me eventually moving to be in proximity. She made sure to emphasize for baby and that we will not be getting back together, but I'm locked into a contract until December at least. So I guess what should OP do to become a better father? Change
Stop.
a lot of things about yourself.
Become a completely different person.
At least he's honest in his post.
It seems like he's becoming self-aware. I mean, hey, that's
a step.
a step in the right direction. At the end of the day, she's still co-parenting a child with a guy.
Yeah.
So better that he's kind of understanding now.
Yeah, but fuck,
But
what an
bruh.
idiot.
Bruh.
Bruh. I'm very curious. Have you ever been with a partner that has just been such a hypocrite? I would love to hear your hypocritical partner stories. All right. When Ariana comes over to my place, she will change and she'll borrow my sweatpants and a t-shirt.
Yep.
And maybe one of my hoodies.
Sure.
Classic girlfriend.
Of course.
Borrows your clothes thing, right? I went over to her place after a date. I didn't have any sweatpants or anything. I was cold and I'm like, hey, can I borrow some of your sweatpants? And immediately she said, no, you'll stretch them out. And yes, she is 5'0" and I have 100 pounds on her. But the fact that she wouldn't even think about lending me her sweatpants, I was taken aback. And I said, Ariana, that's hypocritical as fuck. Do you know how many times I've given you my sweatpants? And then she's like, fine, I'll go check. And I wore some of her sweatpants and I look fucking phenomenal in them.
Oh God.
Did not stretch them out because they're massively oversized on her. And now we're closer because of it. I think someone is living in my shed. I can't prove it yet.
Rent is too damn high. I'm about to find a shed to live in myself.
Title says it all, but it also doesn't say a thing.
Oh.
Mysterious start. Lately, I've been noticing something off about my home. Like there's something else with me, my wife, and our 2 dogs, but I have not been able to put my finger on it until today. For some context, I live in a duplex. We share the property with another guy in his mid-20s. He has his own house and we have ours, but we share the laundry room that leads to our respective backyards that are separated by a fence. This all started 2 months ago when a guy sent me a text. Hey man, just a heads up, someone stole my bike out of the sunroom. This is extra creepy because to get to our son/laundry room, you would need to hop the brick fence surrounded by shrubbery trees and then hurl the bike over, unless the thief had the most massive balls ever and walked through one of our front doors when we weren't home. Either way, I didn't feel right and made more of an effort to keep the door locked. Fast forward a couple of weeks ago, I let my dogs in the backyard and one of them starts sniffing at the shed. No big deal. The lizards are coming out. It's heating up. They probably just chased one under the door. Finally got them to come in, but didn't give it much thought. I hardly ever go in that shed. Nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of out of the way, and I'm not really a hang in the shed type of guy.
You don't like hanging in the shed with your boys?
Hey, knock back a couple beers in the shed. Maybe look at those tools. Maybe look at each other's tools.
Oh, God.
So we generally use it for storage, suitcases, furnitures that doesn't match and fit the house, camping stuff, boring suburban shit. We probably enter it maybe 3 times a year. After the 18th day in a row of my dogs being curious about the shed, I decided to give it a little look-see to see if maybe there's a Komodo dragon. Where are they living? A Komodo dragon?
What?
Or something in there. But what I did find literally made me piss myself just a little bit. Just a few drops.
Ooh.
Inside the shed was the bike that my neighbor had stolen a little while back. My first thought was, oh, fuck, my wife is a klepto. So
Yeah.
it's like,
right.
oh, my wife stole this guy's shit.
Who else could it be?
But quickly ruled that out. She doesn't even like the bike. Then I briefly worried that my neighbor thought that I was the thief. I mean, it's in my shed. I don't know how to explain that if he found out. Plus, I wanted to give him his bike back. I kept looking around and found that one of our sleeping bags unraveled but balled up behind a box. Inside of it was a sack of what looked like to be $20 in change in singles. There was also a bag for garbage that had lots of food wrappers inside. It was pretty clean.
I'm still freaked out. I am freaked out. He said wife, kids, and a dog.
Yeah.
I'm freaked out.
And
I'm freaked
a
out.
new roommate. Eventually, my brain accepted what it was ultimately denying at first and put 2 and 2 together. Someone, I don't know who, is living in my shed.
I hate it.
Or at least was. Maybe my dog spooked them off, or maybe they sleep there every night and leave during the day. If they weren't coming back, why would they leave the change? I left everything how I found it and am thinking about what I should do next. Whoever did it must have gotten in through the spare set of keys I keep hidden in my backyard. I locked up and brought them inside with me tonight. Hopefully, whoever it is gets the message and moves on. I'm going to install cameras tomorrow. I will keep you guys updated if anything more happens. Please hope for the best, and let's hope this person isn't a lunatic. And there is an update.
Oh, no.
But John, if you thought someone was living in your shed, what do you do?
It could totally be just someone like, I found this random ass empty box and I'm living in it, right? That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
But my paranoid mind is like, is this person like trying to infiltrate my family and like do whatever else, you know?
Is he trying to hook up with my wife? Has my wife has been going to the shed more recently.
I mean, dude,
and she comes back with a smile on her face.
If someone is getting at your wife living in your own shed, you got to get your riz up, my dude. Like, you are just failing.
But have you ever found anyone sleeping in your apartment or shed or lawn? But there is an update, John.
Okay.
Right?
I feel like I know what it's gonna say.
All right, guys, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The bad news is that for 3 nights now, my cameras have not picked up anything creepy, so no creepy footage for you guys. The good news is for me, no footage. But the story doesn't end there. A few people who read my post suggested I contact some local homeless shelters. After all, I didn't want to get the police involved and ruin someone's life potentially.
Yeah.
And this very well could have just been a person who hit rock bottom and needed any kind of shelter. So I called around these past few days and explained this story to people who knew the homeless population. The first few conversations went something like, this doesn't sound like anyone I know of, but let me hook you up with blank. And after about the 5th or 6th time of being told to hit up someone who may know, I got a bite.
Okay.
Susan has been working with the homeless community in my city for about 3 decades. She listened to what I said with eagerness, and I could tell she had a light bulb go off almost right away. The bag of food wrappers you found, were there a bunch of party mix little bite muffins? This was it. She was dead spot on.
Wow.
There were probably like 10 in there.
Wow.
And then she says, you got nothing to worry about. That's old man Dan.
So old man Dan.
Old man Dan, he just sleeps in your shed every once
He's
in a
just
while.
slipping in and out and around.
Susan proceeded to tell me the brief version of old man Dan's life.
Old Man Dan is a supposed Vietnam veteran who, like many of his peers, fell on hard times. She said he has probably lived more of his life homeless than he probably has functioning within society. They feel like he suffers from a multitude of mental health issues such as PTSD and multiple personality, but has never been a concern for violent outbursts. He's mostly kept his head low and just tried to hang out. He also has a habit of shoplifting boxes at a time of party mix little bites from the grocery store. I guess they're his favorite. But Old Man Dan is infamous for one thing.
Oh no.
Setting up little bases around town. Sometimes, they said, he's gone undetected for years. Other times, he's caught in a day. There are usually little bites wrappers found in these places. That's what usually gives his identity away.
His calling card.
Yeah, his calling card. It's like the Joker's Joker card.
Yeah, but it's muffin wrappers.
But it's muffin wrappers. They said he's really good about not going back to where he's not welcome. He's just trying to not draw attention. Some of his local hideouts include under the bleachers at a high school, the away team's bench, less security, abandoned swimming pools, like ones swim teams wouldn't practice at. He had a tent on a golf course. But his most common are a plethora of sheds and guest houses he can find a way into. So now that I know that my wife's life, my precious baby pups, my neighbors, and my life are not in any immediate threat, I took a moment to ponder and make my next move. I asked if Susan would come by and grab his stuff and track him down. She said she knew his usual spots. I tossed his trash. It was just wrappers, no cans or recyclables, but gave her the sack of cash and coins with a little extra money from my coin jar. I also let her give the sleeping bag. My neighbor kept the bike. Anyway, hopefully that's the end of the saga. I'm moving this summer anyway, so not really anything to worry about long term. But although I knew his intentions were malicious, part of me still feels violated that this was even happening. How many nights did he sleep out there without me knowing? I shudder at the thoughts. So Old Man Dan, if I see you on the street, I'll throw you a few bucks and a water, but let's not meet in my shed.
Ooh, wow. This is kind of like a wholesome ending.
Yeah, Old Man Dan. I love how there was like a Reddit post about this, but like every town has a like weird person that's unexplainable. It's like a guy like riding bareback on a horse with his shirt off with long hair.
Yeah.
And you're like, who's that guy riding bareback with his like, shirt off, like with long hair on the horse? And your friend's like, oh, like that's horseback Jesus.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, what would you do if
you found Old Man Dan living in your shed?
I feel like I feel like I resonated a lot with OP, where I'm like a little bit hesitant to like call the cops just so you never know. But I'm also simultaneously like definitely freaked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I feel
kind
like
of a tough
OP
call.
made the exact right choice. Like, hey, let me call like these services and see what I can do.
Yeah. Shout out to OP, honestly.
Shout out to OP. This
Good
is a
stuff.
real classy move.
Yeah. My husband is furious because of what I did at the engagement party, but I don't care. Am I the a-hole? So my fiance, male 31, and I, female 26, got engaged several days ago.
Nice.
This is relevant. He's tall and I'm in the 5 foot category. Pretty small compared to him and his family.
From 5 foot to 5'11".
I know, right?
Okay.
But
I'm guessing 5 flat.
He asked that I wear high heels at our engagement party since there was going to be photos. Although I wasn't comfortable and I'm also not a fan of high heels, I decided to wear them just for his sake since he begged and pleaded.
How tall is this guy?
I mean, my man is 7'8".
7 foot.
You know.
Yo, he's having to crouch.
And also since he promised I would be sitting most of the time. But at the party, he made me stand for hours to welcome the guests. There were like 20 guests with him. I got so tired of standing and my feet and my legs were on fire. I asked if I could sit, but his mom said that I'm the fiance and I should stand next to my partner, not just sit down like the party had nothing to do with me.
Just let her change into different shoes.
Who cares if she wants to sit? It's her party.
Yeah, bro.
What does this have to do with you, bitch? I told my fiance again that I was in so much pain, and he said, "Suck it up, babe. It's almost over."
Damn.
God.
Dick.
I hate these two people right now.
Dick.
I had enough of it. I took my heels off and I let my feet and legs cool off. Him and his mom looked at me in utter confusion. Several of his family and guests saw me barefoot as well.
Barefoot. I saw her toes.
He freaked out and asked me what I was doing.
How dare you, wench?
His mom asked that I put my heels on, but I said my feet were done and I couldn't do it anymore. My fiance begged me, please, my darling.
Please put your shoes on. The stench is overwhelming.
But I stood there till it was over like he wanted. The minute I got in the car, he flipped out, saying I embarrassed him in front of family and friends by standing there barefoot and refusing to put my heels back on, even after his mom repeatedly asked. I reminded him that he said I wouldn't be standing, but turns out that that wasn't true. Yeah,
You lied.
you make me sick. He argued that for someone with a height like mine, that I should wear high heels more often and said that I should have sucked it up for his sake. He went upstairs and he turned his phone off and refused to speak with me. I had no intentions of embarrassing him, and I do feel like I should have just sucked it up. But I think he wasn't truthful about how long I was expected to stand. Am I the a-hole? Quick edit. He doesn't usually care if I wear high heels and said I should start considering wear them from now on because most women wear high heels on big occasions like weddings and engagement parties. Ladies and gentlemen, your boy is pissed, but I want you to resolve my pissedness by sharing your thoughts in the comments. And I'm sure that there's been some controlling mother-in-laws and fiancés and all manner of that. I would love to hear your stories in the comments, or maybe your craziest high heel related story.
So Ariana, my girlfriend, is 5 flat. I'm like 6 foot. And yesterday we went out to watch The Little Mermaid. Lit, by the way.
Oh,
Lit.
yeah.
And she was about to wear high heels. And I'm like, oh, those look really good. Are you going to wear those? And she's like, nah, like they kind of make my feet hurt. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's wear other shoes. End of discussion, right?
Sam, are you telling me that you allowed her to do what she wanted to do?
I know. And not very manly of me.
You disgust me.
I know. Not very tatey of me.
Wow.
But yeah, I would love to hear everyone's high heel stories.
Yes.
And also, what is the highest heel that you've ever worn?
Ooh, competition time.
Competition.
Let's go. Hey, you're like 70-80% women. We know who's watching.
We know there's some high heel wearers in there.
Let's see who wins.
I kicked a girl at my wedding because she was younger and hotter than me. The audacity. Am I the a-hole?
If anyone is more attractive than you,
Yep.
attack them.
I, 25 female, and my husband, 30 male, and I got married last Friday.
Congrats.
We planned our dream wedding down to the dream catering company. The wedding was beautiful. After the pictures, we headed to our cocktail hour, and that's when I saw her. My guests were all told to wear dark colors, so my husband and I stood out. I also asked my guests to wear minimal makeup. I had assumed that applied to the staff as well. The server, 19-ish female, had on clearly too much eyeliner.
Clearly.
This isn't a Green Day concert, you punk! She also had diamond studs on her ears, a flashy ring, and one of those ugly nose studs.
Oh, a nose stud. What is this? Is this a hot topic?
The staff's uniform was long black sleeve shirts, but on her, it was too low cut and her pants were far too tight.
That ass and those boobies were
goodness.
too bodacious.
They were busted out the confines.
My husband could not keep his eyes off her.
She was walking around serving drinks and talking to my guests.
How dare she?
You do your
Saying
job.
things like, would you like a drink? Oh, how dare you?
Audacity.
Saying chicken or fish? Oh, my goodness.
I asked another member of the staff to speak to their boss. When their boss came out, I pointed out the server and asked that she be dealt with because she was super distracting. Their boss apologized and called the server back into the kitchen. Oh, this poor server, man.
Bro, she's like, this happens every time, every wedding. They always kick me out because I'm too hot.
What can I do? Not even an hour later, the server was back out serving food for dinner. I called the boss over again and asked if the server could work in the back or go home.
Oh my God.
Her boss said they were short-staffed tonight, so she would see what can be done. After a few hours of not seeing her, I saw the server again around
audacity.
the bar. Why do you continue to exist when I wish for you to vanish? I called the boss out one last time and told her if the server didn't leave, I would be calling the cops.
On what grounds?
Hey, my husband and mother-in-law said I was acting crazy. Yes.
Yes.
And that I probably got a poor college kid fired over nothing. My mother and maid of honor said it's my wedding, so I can do as I please.
I don't know if you getting married, you have the right to just be a dick to everyone.
It's my wedding, and I don't want someone overshining me. And that server should know she's at work and not to dress up too much. I do feel kind of bad because she was pretty young. Am I the ass?
Hole. Yes. Yes, you are. Big, fat asshole. Just because someone's hotter than you doesn't mean they should go to jail.
Well, that's not what I told the cops when I said my co-host needs to be arrested because he's too fine.
But that's what I told them when I saw John and his luscious mane, and I said, hair like that has got to be cut off because it makes me look bad. It's
Wow.
too beautiful.
Man, this is a very clear cut
asshole
to me.
Yeah,
that asshole is cut clear.
Perky.
Very, very, very perky.
I told my fiance her wedding dress was butt ugly, and I hate it. Am I the a-hole?
You know, he's just being honest. You
Just
know,
being honest.
He's trying to be a nice guy.
So my fiance and I are getting married in 9 months. She's been dress shopping with her girls for months now. She found the dress she loved and bought it and was too excited to keep it a secret. She told me pics of the bridesmaids' dresses, and I told her they were pretty. They matched the groomsmen's suits really well. Anyway, she brought her dress out and asked what I thought. I specifically asked if she wants the God's honest truth
Oh no.
and wants me to critique the dress, or if she knows she loves it and just wants to show me.
I would probably go. I'll be honest. Those other ones over there were really catching my eye.
The old switcheroo. I don't hate that. She said she wanted my opinion. She put the dress on and came out of the bathroom, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed. She's a beautiful woman and looks incredible in anything, of course, but the dress completely dwarfed her and didn't really fit the wedding theme she has worked so hard for. She wanted a foresty, magical, and whimsical type theme.
Yeah, what does she got to do? Like wear a moss dress, like be a tree? Like
A white moss dress. Flower crowns on the bridesmaids, etc. But she chose a super sparkly dress with a huge skirt, which looked nothing like the simply body-hugging sexy dresses she had been repeatedly showing me. She picked basically a huge Disney princess dress, and I just didn't like how it looked at all. I was honest when I told her I didn't like it, and I was surprised she picked it because it just doesn't seem to match her, and I just thought it was too much poof and sparkle, which is a more laid-back opinion of this, I hate it. She got really quiet and stormed back upstairs, and then stormed out of the house and went to her mom's. She texted me saying she couldn't believe I would say I didn't like it and what a dickhead I am, and has blocked my number. This is our first major fight. I'm just so annoyed because I asked if she wanted a real opinion, and she said yes. So, am I the a-hole for telling her I don't like the dress? And there is an edit. I'll just read that first. I read my credit card statement. Guess how much the dress was. Also, I want to know in the comments how expensive your guys' dress were.
yeah.
For those of you that are married or were about to be married and then like maybe ran off with another person or left the guy at the altar.
It happens.
It happens all the time. But John, guess.
I feel like the average is in the thousands, right? It's not in the hundreds. Probably like 5 to 15, I guess, would be like maybe the median average range for like a not non-budget dress.
Yeah.
Let's go 15.
$9,000.
I mean, that's still insane.
That's
still
a lot.
Freaking insane.
Might help explain the reaction. Oh, you don't like this $9,000 dress? Great, because I can't return it. Do you think OP's the a-hole?
Yes, you're not RuPaul, bro. Like this is not like some runway show. This is not
America's
Next in
Next Top
Fashion.
Model.
This is not America's Next Top Model. This is just your wife wanting to feel supported.
Like if someone asks your opinion on something that can be changed,
Yeah.
I think he's not out of place. If it's already at the other end and she can't return it and he's saying like, I don't really like it, that's when he's the a-hole. But yeah, let us know, is OP the a-hole or not? And if you bought a wedding dress or if your significant other had a wedding dress, how much did that thing cost? Because those things are expensive.